Welcome to Wallace on Wire. Today we're talking about Akmal's, well, that very direct challenge he threw down, didn't he, to the Democratic Action Party youth leadership.
Oh, yeah. It certainly got everyone talking.
Absolutely. And look, this isn't just, your typical political back and forth between youth wings. This feels different. It feels like a really high stakes public test of the whole unity government, its stability, its very foundation, maybe.
Well, it definitely brings that underlying tension right to the surface, doesn't it? The tension we all knew was sort of bubbling away. What we're seeing really is that inherent ideological clash, between the United Malays National Organization, UMNO, and the Democratic Action Party, DAP. Their leaderships, their grassroots.
So the big question is this coalition just like a marriage of convenience, purely political necessity?
Or is there something more, some shared principles?
Yeah.
Because right now it looks like it's really groaning under the weight of those historical differences.
Okay, right. Let's break it down. It all kicked off with that statement from Wu Kaliang, the Democratic Action Party Youth Chief. He really drew a line, didn't he? Said that Democratic Action Party Youth, UMNO Youth, and interestingly, Malaysian Chinese Association Youth too, they're on different paths, won't plan together.
And that phrase, Wu Kaliang, it carries a lot of weight politically. It's not just saying we disagree.
No, it sounds much more fundamental than that, like an ideological break.
That's exactly it. Wu Kaliang wasn't just quibbling over some policy detail. He was essentially declaring a philosophical incompatibility.
Even though they're in the same government.
Right. He's trying to position Democratic Action Party Youth as ideologically distinct, even while sharing those government benches with UMNO.
And he backed it up with history, which I thought was quite pointed. He didn't hold back.
No, he didn't.
He specifically mentioned how the Malaysian Chinese community had apparently rejected the Malaysian Chinese Association and Garrican in the past. Why? Because they supposedly wouldn't stand up to what he termed conservative extremist elements.
And that's the key, isn't it? That historical reference is the strategic anchor for his whole argument.
How so?
Well, by drawing that parallel, Democratic Action Party Youth is trying to very clearly differentiate itself. They're saying, look, we're not like those previous Chinese-based parties and coalitions who people felt were too quiet.
So the message to their base is,
we will speak out. We will confront figures like Datuk Mohd Akmal Saleh when their rhetoric clashes with what the Democratic Action Party stands for. It's a very deliberate move, to establish a correct position, politically speaking.
right, to solidify their support among voters who really care about that anti-extremist stance.
Precisely.
Okay, so Wu Kaliang lays down this marker, takes the sort of moral high ground based on history and principle, but Akmal Saleh, well, he's not exactly known for letting a challenge like that just sit there, is he? Especially one made so publicly.
Oh, absolutely not. His response, his counterattack on social media, it was, pure Akmal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Aggressive, confrontational,
Yeah.
totally uncompromising.
Yeah, he didn't even try to find common ground or smooth things over.
Not at all. He saw the ideological critique and just, bam, escalated it immediately to an existential political threat.
He really threw down the gauntlet, challenged Democratic Action Party Youth directly, told Wu Kaliang to go tell his boss, the senior DAP leadership, that if they really believe they need to cut ties with the United Malays National Organization, well, then they should just cut it off directly. Just do it.
Exactly. No messing around. He basically said, all this talking about it verbally, it's useless. It achieves nothing.
So he's calling their bluff, saying, stop using us as a target for your ideological points if you're not prepared to face the consequences.
That's precisely the dynamic. If we're truly incompatible, as you claim, then prove it. Pull the plug on the government.
Okay, but hold on. You call his move a masterclass in confrontation, but isn't this incredibly risky for him too? Isn't he potentially weakening the very unity government that his own party, UMNO, needs for stability, especially his party president?
That's a fair question. Less counterintuitive, maybe.
Yeah. Is he just prioritizing his own sort of firebrand image over UMNO's stability within the government?
Look, it's a calculated risk, but the current structure, it actually plays to Akmal's advantage here, I think.
Oh.
He's outside the cabinet, right? So he doesn't have the same direct responsibility for government stability that the senior ministers in DAP or even UMNO have.
Okay. Less constrained.
Exactly. So by demanding this immediate break, he actually gains leverage. He highlights just how difficult, how politically chaotic it would be for the DAP leadership to actually do what their youth wing is implying they should.
So he turns their moral stance into a political trap for the main party.
Pretty much. It puts the senior DAP leadership in a terrible bind. Do they back their youth wing's principles and risk collapsing the government? Or do they prioritize stability and potentially look weak or inconsistent to their base?
Right, because the consequences of actually breaking the coalition, they're huge, especially for DAP, maybe more so than for Akmal personally in the short term.
That's the calculation. If DAP doesn't break ties, then their youth wing looks a bit toothless, right? Criticizing a partner they depend on. But if they do break ties, well, the government falls. It's a political checkmate, almost. Akmal puts them in a no-win situation.
Wow, okay, so this particular feud is intense, real high drama, but it's not happening in isolation, is it, if you zoom out a bit?
No, not at all. It's part of a pattern.
We're seeing similar friction, similar historical baggage playing out, even between partners you might expect to be, well, maybe not friends, but at least less antagonistic.
Absolutely. That tension is spilling over everywhere. There's that ongoing war of words. DAP Youth keeps pushing the Malaysian Chinese Association, asking them, are you secretly being led by PAS? That kind of thing.
MCA Youth hits back, right, challenging DAP Youth to debates, calling them the boasters group.
Yes, the boasters group. It's quite the label.
It is. But jokes aside, the fact that component parties and partners within the same government are throwing these kind of insults around publicly, it really shows how high the internal temperature is, doesn't it?
It screams instability. This constant, very public infighting, even among supposed allies. It's more than just, political theater. It signals a deep lack of trust, a lack of cohesion under the surface of the unity government.
And that's where it starts to impact regular people, right? That's what you, listening, should probably care about most.
Exactly. Because all this infighting, it eats up enormous amounts of political energy and capital.
How do you mean?
Well, think about it. If leaders are constantly putting out fires internally, managing these rivalries, responding to challenges from their own partners, trying to keep their historical bases happy,
they don't have much time or focus left for actually governing.
Precisely. Especially when it comes to the really tough stuff, the necessary but politically difficult decisions.
Like the economic reforms we keep hearing about, subsidy rationalization, things like that?
Exactly like that. We know, for instance, that subsidies, in their current form, are probably not sustainable long-term. The government needs unity, it needs political wisdom, it needs courage to tackle that without causing massive public upset.
But if they're all busy fighting each other...
If the leadership is preoccupied with its youth wings, basically daring each other to blow up the coalition, how can they possibly find the stability and focus needed to implement something as sensitive as subsidy reform? It becomes incredibly risky, maybe impossible.
So the drama isn't just drama, it leads to real paralysis on issues that affect the rakyat, the people, cost of living, national finances, all held hostage by these internal squabbles.
The partners lack the trust and stability to face the hard choices together. That's the real consequence.
So this whole drama, this showdown, it really underlines that being in a coalition doesn't magically erase those deep ideological divides or historical wounds.
Not at all. It just pushes them out into the open, often in these very dramatic ways that ultimately erode the government's ability to function effectively. The alliance might be necessary for power, but it's clearly not a meeting of minds or a truly shared vision.
Okay, so wrapping this up, Datuk Mohd Akmal Salah has thrown down a very serious, very stark challenge. It forces the Democratic Action Party, both youth and senior leadership, to really confront the messy reality of their partnership with UMNO. This is like more than just standard coalition friction. It points to some deep fault lines.
Definitely deep fault lines. And maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. When politics becomes mainly about challenging your own allies to break up, when so much energy goes into these public spats and refighting old battles, how much focus really is left for governing, for serving the people? That constant need to defend the coalition's very existence. It takes away from the administration's ability to actually administer, to address the country's urgent needs. And that balance, or maybe the lack of it, that's the true fallout from all this political heat.
A sobering thought. We'll definitely be watching how this develops. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.